Ayan. Okay. An object is dropped from the top of a cliff. It is seen to hit the ground below after 3 seconds. Determine A, the height of the cliff, B, the velocity of the object just before hitting the ground. Ayan. So if you will draw the figure for this example. Ayan. So example, ito yung cliff. Tapos may hinulog daw na object dito sa cliff. Ayan. And then after 3 seconds, okay, it hit the ground. So determine A. So what is the height of the cliff? So what's the height of the cliff? And B, the velocity of the object before hitting the ground. So what's the final velocity? And then the height of the cliff. Ayan. Saan ba associated yung height of the cliff? Sa mga formula or sa mga quantities natin. Okay, so that means this is associated with displacement or delta y. Okay, so delta y is the unknown. We are given the time na 3 seconds and then the acceleration na negative 9.8 meters per second squared. How about the initial velocity? What is the initial velocity? Is it given?
0 po.
Okay, bakit 0?
From the, ano po, yung pinaka-tuktok po. 0.
Sino yan? Okay, kasi yung word na, may cue tayo na word na drop. Tama ba? Okay, pag drop, initial velocity is 0. Ayan. Okay? So knowing all this, we want to find delta y. So which formula are we going to use? So that's displacement. So yung delta y is VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. But VI is 0. So delta y is 1/2 times negative 9.8 times 3 squared. So what is delta y?
Negative 41.
Point. Sakto.
1 po. 44.1 po.
44.1 meters. Ayan. Ang tanong, ano ang height ng cliff? Okay, height. Okay, positive. Kasi wala namang negative na height. So therefore, the height is 44.1 meters. Ayan. Okay.
Sir?
Yeah?
Yes po.
Na?
Sir, pipicturean niyo po ba yan?
Yes.
Sige, thank you, sir.
Okay, so may question dito sa example natin. Una. Okay, so let's have the second one. So what is the final velocity when hitting or before hitting the ground? So given ito, so anong formula ang gagamitin natin? Yung B final initial plus 80. But initial is 0. So V final is negative 9.8 times 3. So what's V final?
Negative 29.4.
Okay, negative 29.4. 0.4 meters per second. So this is our final velocity. Okay, why negative? Ba negative?
It is going down.
Okay, so tama. Pababa. Okay, going down. Okay? So, kung wala yung question doon, we'll proceed to our next example. Ayan. So, a ball is thrown downward at a speed of 10 meters per second from a height of 30 meters. Determine A, the time it hits the ground, and B, its velocity just before hitting the ground. Okay, so if we will draw the figure, a ball is thrown downward from a height of 30 meters. Okay, so this is the ball, and it is thrown downward at a height of 30 meters. And then, yun lang. Okay, so what's the initial velocity of the ball? It is
10.
10. Kaya lang, class. 10 lang.
Negative po.
Okay, bakit?
Thrown
Kasi
down po.
thrown downward. So, magiging negative. Ayan. Okay, so letter A. So, ano daw yung time para ma-hit nga yung ground? Ano yung time? So, ano ba yung mag-given natin? So, we're given that V initial is negative 10 meters per second. Acceleration is negative 9.8 meters per second squared. And how about displacement?
Negative 30.
Okay, so it's also negative 30 meters kasi pababa siya. Okay, don't forget that one. Ayan. So, time ang hinahanap. So, what formula? So, wala tayong given final velocity. So, let's not choose the other two formulas under final velocity. So, wala tayong choice kung hindi yung VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. Ayan. So, this is negative 30 is equal to negative 10t plus 1/2 times negative 9.8 t squared. Then you transpose everything to the left. So magiging 4.9 t squared plus 10t minus 30 is equal to 0. So use quadratic equation. So what's t1 and t2? Alam yung gamitin? Ang calculus nyo? Okay, mode 5. Mode 5, 3. And then input nyo lang yung constant. So 4.9, 10, negative 30. Yan. So the answers are 2.37 seconds and negative 2.58 seconds. So anong pipili natin sa dalawa? Okay, so we'll choose 2.37 kasi there's no such thing as negative time. Ayan. So the answer is 2.37 seconds. So if you will ask me, I will allow you to to use quadratic equation on your solutions. Alam niyo ba siyang gamitin? Ha? Alam niyo gamitin sa calculus?
Hindi ba sila?
Pareho
Refresh
tayong
lang.
calculus.
Hindi po.
Pareho ba tayo ng calculus? Oh,
Iba po
tayo
yung
sa
sa akin.
mode 5. Hanapin yung equation. Mode 5. Tapos yung may equation. Tapos hanapin nyo lang yung quadratic. Yun yung ax squared plus bx plus c. So press nyo 3. And then itatype nyo lang yung mga coefficients. Ayan. 4.9, 10, and negative 30. So 4.9, 10, negative 30. Then press equals.
Yar.
Ba't iba yung sagot? Anong nangyari? Ba't iba yung sagot ko? Sandali.
Sir, yung mode ng calculator ko, sir, 3 lang.
Alam nyo,
Akin
ito
sir, ang
yung,
daming options po sa akin eh.
Yung bang black
Wala
yan?
akong class Swiss FX 350.
Opo, sir. Yung sa akin po yung black, sir.
Pwede sa akin, sir, black din, sir. Ay,
Pwede.
sir, yung 85 years.
Sandali. Check ko sa internet. Ano?
Ako, 82
82
ES.
ES? Walang mode yan?
Wala siyang equation.
Okay, most of engineering students are using this calculator. And yung mas mataas dito yung black. Pero yung kasing black, hindi siya pwede sa board exam. Since aero naman kayo, I think this one is allowed. Kaya ito halos ang ginagamit ng mga estudyante. Madali kasi siya. Madami siyang function. Lalo na ginagamit sa pag-aaral natin. So kung ako sa inyo, ganito na yung, since first year pa lang kayo, ito na yung gamitin nyo na CalQ. I advise you to use this one. Hanggang matapos kayo, para at least memorize at alam yung gamitin yung CalQ ninyo at saka yung mga functions nila. Yung 82ES, parang wala siyang shift solve. Wala siyang shift solve. So, sa stat kasi, tsaka sa NGCon, nag-shift solve din eh. Mahirap kasing, meron kasing part doon na mahirap siyang hindi i-shift solve. Pati pagdating nyo sa DE, after your Calc 2, gagamit din tayo ng shift solve. Yeah, Ezekiel, sinat ko na yung 85 ba? Okay, yung 85 ES plus wala din siyang shift solve. Tinignan ko, walang shift solve. So,
Yung sa akin, sir. Tapos bili ulit.
na?
Benta ko na lang po yung sa akin, sir. Tapos bili na lang po.
Oo. Yung kayang 350 EX?
Sir, paano niyo po ulit nilagay sa calculator? Paulit nga ako. Hindi po yung lumalabas sa akin.
Wala din shift solve yung Kyle, wala rin shift solve yung sa'yo. Later, tingnan nyo anong gagawin ko sa shift solve, no? Pwede ko kasi siyang i-shift solve eh. Sandali. Mode. Ito. Mode 5, 3. Tapos ita-type niyo yung mga constants, coefficients lang. Yung 4.9 equals 10 equals, and then negative 30 equals. Then press equal. Ayan. Class, kung kaya nyo na bumili na ngayon kasi mga susunod nating lesson, tuturuan ko kayo ng mga shortcut na CalQ pag magsosolve tayo. Mali pala. Mali lumabas sa akin kanina pala. This is wrong.
Sir,
So,
pwede po 2 decimal lang.
Yeah. Sa physics, nagto 2 decimals lang tayo.
Okay po.
Ayan. So the answer is 1.66x. We will not consider negative 3.7. Okay. So, ano pa yung isa yung shift solve? So, halimbawa, pwede ko naman siyang gawing ganyan lang and then ganyan lang. Tingnan yung gagawin ko. Magta-type ko lang yung equation. So, negative 30 alpha equals negative 10. Yung t, palitan yung x, alpha x plus 0.5 times negative 9.8 times alpha x squared. And then press shift. And then solve. Ilalabas niya na yung sagot. 1.67. Ayan. Kaya, so madali yung calculus na to. You need this one. Mas madali mag-solve.
Ano po ba yan, sir?
Na?
Ano po ba yan?
991 na?
Mahal,
ES.
sir.
991, hindi, yun yung model, 991 ES. 991 ES Plus. Ayan.
Same
Mark,
yan ng black, sir.
na?
Same po yan
Yung
ng
black
black.
nito nakasunod, actually mas advanced yon. Pero hindi kasi yun pwede sa board exam. Medyo may pagka-programmable yata. At saka kaya niya kasi mag-solve ng four equations for unknowns. Ito ang kaya niya lang 3. Ayun, madaming matrices din ang kaya niyang i-solve. Ito hanggang 3 lang.
Sir, ano pong model yan, sir?
991 ES.
Kung ulit ginamit yung ship solve, sir?
I-type mo yung equation sa calcu mo, gamitin mo yung mga alpha at saka yung x. So, halimbawa, ito, type ko yung equation. So, type mo negative 30. Then, yung equals andon, alpha equals my negative 10 plus 1/2 tapos times negative 9.8 times yung tiga yung x alpha x squared. Ayan. And then press shift solve. Ayan. May integral din ito. Ba't parang iba na? Sandali. Walang alpha, walang negative 10x yun. Shift solve. Press yung shift and then press equal. Shift and then solve and then press equal. Ilalabas na yung sagot. Okay? Okay, so let's continue. Hindi, ginagamit na para mabilis mag-compute. Hindi na kayo magma-manual. Ayan. Pero kung gusto nyo yung manual, wala namang problema. Gusto nyo yung manual. Okay, letter B. What is the velocity? Okay, before it hits the ground. So, anong gagamitin nating formula? Okay, kung wari wag natin gagamitin yung time, baka mali tayo. So, ang gagamitin natin is B final squared, B initial squared, plus 2A delta Y. So, V initial, ayan. So, V final squared is equal to negative 10 squared plus 2 times negative 9.8 times negative 30. Ayan. And then, square both sides. So, V final is equal to
Pero hindi po lumabas sa akin.
okay, 26.23. Meters per second. Okay, class. Question. Kaya as much as possible, hindi ko ginagamit ang formulang ito for the fact na pag nag-square root ka, ang sagot ay laging 2. Plus minus. Tama ba? Square root. Pag nag-square root ka kasi, 2 laging possible answers. Positive or negative. So, based dito sa example natin, ano dapat yung totoong sagot? Is it positive or negative?
Negative po kasi pababa.
Oo, negative pababa. Kaya therefore, ang final velocity talaga ay negative 26.23 meters per second. Okay, kung gusto mo siyang i-check mo siya sa time. Kung kayang gamitin yung V final is equal to initial plus 80, mas magandang gamitin yon. So that's equal to negative 10 plus negative 9.8 times 1.66. So V final is equal to, ito kasi lalabas niya na talaga yung sagot eh. Na sign. So it's, ayan. So negative 26.27. Nag-ano kasi tayo, round off. Ayan. Okay? Okay, so may question ba sa example natin?
Wala naman po.
Wala. Okay, so let's proceed to another example. Ayan. Ayan. Okay, so a baseball is thrown straight upward with an initial speed of 35 meters per second. So compute the following. So naman tayong baseball and then it is given an initial velocity of 35 meters per second. So thrown upward, so that means it's positive. So packet siya. So letter A. What's the maximum height reached? So what is the max height? Ayan. Okay. The max height, anong information yung alam natin? Okay. At the max height, halimbawa, ito yung max height. Okay. So at the max height, di ba, ang final velocity is 0. Ayan. At max height, V final is equal to 0. And given tayo initial, that's 35 meters per second. And then acceleration is negative 9.8 meters per second squared. So what is delta y? So that is associated with the maximum height. Okay, so one formula. So formula natin ay V final squared is equal to V initial squared plus 2a delta y. So V final is 0. So delta y is equal to negative, transpose ko yon, vi squared over 2a. So that's negative 35 squared over 2 times negative 9.8. So what is delta y? Okay, it's it. 62.5 meters. Ayan. So, ito na yung max height. Ayan. Okay? Tama ba yung na-compute ko? Okay, letter B. So, wala. So, what is the time taken to reach that height? So, what's the time para ma-reach na daw yung height na yon? So, time. So, it should have something to do with V final. So, yung pangalawa, pangatlo pala. So, V final is V initial plus 80. So, V final is 0. So, T is equal to negative VI over A. So, that's equal to negative 35 over negative 9.8. So, time is okay, 3.57 seconds. Ayan. Okay? Okay, next. Letter C. What is its velocity 5 seconds after it is thrown? Okay, so what is V final when T is equal to 5 seconds? So I think we should be using the same formula. So V final is equal to V initial plus AT. So that's equal to 35 plus negative 9.8 times 5. So that's V final. Okay, is tama ba ako? Negative 14? Okay, negative 14 meters per second. Ayan. Okay. May questions sa B and C?
Wala po.
Okay. Wala. Okay, so let's continue. Next. What is the velocity also when the ball's height is 40 meters? Ayan, 40 meters. So, halimbawa, di ba tinapon natin yung bola? Ganyan. Ayan. So, at maximum height, ang maximum height natin ay 62.5 meters. Sabihin na natin nandito yung 40 meters. Ano daw yung velocity pag na-reach niya yung 40 meters? 40 meters. Okay, so given tayo na delta y is equal to 40 meters, v initial na 35 meters per second, and acceleration na negative 9.8 meters per second square. So, ang tinatanong ay final velocity. So, ano ang formulang gagamitin natin? Yung pangapat pa rin? Tama ba? So, V final is equal to V initial squared plus 2A delta Y. So, V final squared is equal to 35 squared plus 2 times negative 9.8 times 40. And then we square both sides. Okay, so what's the V final? Sakto yung na-compute ko. Tama ba?
Same din po yung app.
Okay. Kaya lang dito, again, positive or negative. Ano yung pipiliin natin?
Positive.
Ha? Positive or negative?
Hit the ground po ba?
Hindi, 40 meters. 40 meters na ma-reach na yung height na 40 meters.
Ano po? Positive, sir.
Okay, positive. Okay, class. Ang tanong dito ay velocity, hindi speed. Remember, anong difference yung dalawa? Pag speed, magnitude lang. Pag velocity, kailangan natin yung direction. Ang tanong ko lang ay, ilang beses niya dadaanan yung 40 meters?
Dalawa.
Pala, sir.
Yung isa,
Pataas po.
pataas siya. Yung isa, pababa siya. Ayan. So, kaya dito, nandito yung positive 21 at nandito yung negative 21 meters per second. Since hindi naman tinatanong sa problem kung pataas ba or pababa. So, kahit alin ang sagot natin is correct. Na, kuha nyo ba? Pag V final na 21 meters per second ang sinagot natin, that means it is still going up. And then yung V final na negative 21 meters per second, that means it's already going down. Ayan. Hindi naman sinabi sa problem kung pataas ba or pababa. Kaya, kahit alin ang sagot, okay lang naman. Okay? Aalis yung analysis lang. Maalis alam ninyo na, okay, twice niya nga dadaanan yung 40 meters. So, dalawa yung possible answer. So, isa nung paakyat siya and then yung isa nung pababa na siya. Okay, so let me add something to this problem which is related to D. How about time? Letter E. Add natin. Time to reach. To pass the delta Y na 40 meters. Ayan. So, time para dumaan siya dyan. Okay. So, gagamitin natin formula ay delta Y is VIT plus 1/2 AT squared kasi wala tayong velocity. Kung wala din natin to alam. So, therefore, this is 40 is equal to 35T plus 1/2 times negative 9.8 T squared. So, transpose natin lahat sa kaliwa. So, we'll have 4.9 T squared minus 35T plus 40 is equal to 0. So, by quadratic equation, what's T1 and T2? Mode 5, 3. That's 4.9, negative 35, and 40. So T1 is 5.71 seconds and 1.43 seconds. Ayan. So alin ang i-accept natin? Ngayon sa dalawang time, yung i-accept natin. Okay, class. Since pareho silang positive, so therefore, possible silang pareho. Bakit sila possible pareho? Okay, class. Ito. Ngayon, kung i-compute natin, ano yung time para ma-reach na yung 40 nung pataas siya? So, i-compute natin yun. Check natin. Okay, V final is equal to initial plus 80. So V final is 35 plus negative 9.8 times 1.43. So ano yung V final? It's a positive 21 meters per second. Ano yung V final ulit? Pag gagamitin naman natin ay yung 5.71. Okay, it's negative 21 meters per second. Ayan. Kasi, yung unang time, yung 1.43, ito yung time para ma-reach niya yung height na yon na pataas siya. Okay? And then, yung pangalawang time, ito yung time para ma-reach niya yung nung pababa naman siya. Ayan. So, di ba na-compute natin yung time kanina to reach the maximum height? So, that is 3.57 seconds. So, 1.43 pataas siya, ma-reach niya yung 40 meters. And then, at 3.57, ma-reach niya yung maximum height. And then, mag-start na siyang bumaba. At 5.71, ma-reach na ulit yung 40 meters. Okay, so paano natin yan i-verify? So, i-verify natin, di ba, ang sinasabi natin, yung time to go up is equal to time to go down. So, that means mula dito hanggang dito, anong time yon? Minus natin. So, 3.57 minus 1.43. So, that is 2.14. Mula dito hanggang dito, ang time para ma-reach na yon is 2.14 seconds. Mula dito papunta doon. Mula dito papunta dito, so, that means i-add mo yung 3.57 sa 2.14. So, makukuha mo is 5.71. Kasi nga, they're on the same level. So, mula dito sa point na to na 40 meters, papunta dito sa maximum height, it will take 2.41 seconds. So, that means from the maximum height going also again to 40 meters, it will take 2.14 seconds. Kaya, kung i-add mo yung time niya to reach the maximum height at saka yung pagbaba niya to 40 meters, that is still 5.71 seconds. Okay?
Sir.
May question?
Ulit, sir, ulit.
Kung i-analyze kasi natin, di ba, kinuha natin yung time para ma-reach na yung height na 40. So, dalawa yung sagot natin. So, it's 1.43 tsaka 5.71 seconds. So, kung may negative dyan, madali naman mag-decide. Kaya lang, walang negative, pareho silang positive. So, therefore, they are both acceptable. Kaya lang, ina-analyze lang natin, bakit dalawa yung sagot? Okay? So, babalik tayo dun sa letter D, na dalawang beses niya kasing dadaanan yung 40 meters. Yung isa ay pataas siya, tapos yung isa ay pababa na siya. So that means if we will test, kung yung 1.43 ay talagang pupunta siya dito, so kukunan natin yung velocity niya. Okay, so applying this formula. So we found that the velocity after 1.43 seconds is 21 meters per second, which is yung answer natin sa D. So yung time na para pumunta siya sa 40 meters at magkaroon ng velocity na 21 meters per second is 1.43. Okay? And then, para ma-reach na yung maximum height niya, so na-compute natin kanina, it's 3.57. Okay? And then, syempre, pag na-reach na yung maximum height niya, hihinto siya ng konti and then babalik na siya bababa. Okay? At dadaan siya ulit sa 40 meters. And then, ang sabi natin, based on na-compute natin, dapat daw it's 5.71. So, Para daanan niya ulit yung 40 meters, kailangan niya ng 5.71 seconds mula dun sa starting. So dito yung time naging 5.71. So that's why it is acceptable yung dalawa. 5.71. Ngayon i-check natin. Based kasi sa free falling body, na analysis natin na yung time to go up is equal to time to go down. So kung hanggang dito sa 40 is 1.43 seconds, i-compute lang natin ilan yung time from 1.43 going to 3.57. So we subtracted it. So that's 2.14. Tama ba? Ngayon, same height mula dun sa maximum height. So it's time to go up is equal to time to go down. So it will take 2.14 seconds as well. So if you will add that to 3.57, so ang lalabas na sagot ay 5.71. Mula dito hanggang dito, plus 2.14 seconds, so they'll have 5.71. So that's why both are acceptable. So yung isa kasi ay pataas, so yung isa pababa. Saan nanggaling yung 2.14 seconds? Sinubtract ko yung 3.57 ng 1.43. Para lang ma-check ko, di ba time to go up is equal to time to go down. So sinubtract ko yung 3.57 minus 1.43 is equal to 2.14 seconds. Yung sagot natin kanina. Time to reach maximum height. Yung tanong sa B. Yung tanong sa B. Okay? Okay. So, kung wala kayong question, we'll proceed to our next example. Ayan. Okay. So, this is our next example. A student throws a set of keys vertically upward to her sorority sister, who is in a window 4 meters above. So if you will draw the figure, so we have a student. So nandito daw siya yung kanyang sorority sister. Hindi ako marunong mag-drawing. Four meters. The second student catches the keys 1.5. So meron siyang key na itatapon pataas. Okay? At nasalo daw niya ng time na 1.5 seconds. Okay. So what's the initial velocity where the key is thrown? With what initial velocity? So what is V initial? Okay. Anong information na meron tayo? Time is 1.5 seconds. Displacement is 4 meters. And acceleration is negative 9.8 meters per second squared. So what formula should we be using? Ayan. So we'll be using delta y is VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. Ayan. So delta y is 4 and that's equal to VI times 1.5 plus 1 half negative 9.8 times 1.5 squared. Pwede bang pa-compute? What is V initial? Shortcut. Shortcut yun na lang. Shift solve. Okay, sa calcu ko is 10.02 meters per second. Ayan. Okay? Okay, sa letter V, what is the velocity? Can you compute for that? Iinom lang ako. Okay, so what is the velocity? Propose ko muna. What's the velocity? Oh, let's see. Someone ba agrees with you? Okay, ano bang gagamitin natin formula? Ano ginamit yung formula? Pangatlo, pangapat. Yung may square daw yung wala. Oh. Yan. Yan ang problema ng paggamit nyo ng formulang yan. Di ba dalawa sagot? Ang question ay, positive ba or negative? Ayan. Sabi ni Aaron, tsaka ni Hannah, negative. Okay. Ayan. So kung diniretso nyo siya, V final is initial plus 80, hindi na kayo mag-iisip. Ilalabas niya na agad yung sagot. So that's 10.02 plus negative 9.8 times 1.5. So V final is?
24.72 po akin. Ay, negative pala, sir.
Negative times 1.5. Negative 4. Di mo square root. Hindi mo ni-square root yung sa'yo? 68. Okay, 68 meters per second. Ayan. Kung yan ang ginamit yung formula, diretso niyang ibibigay yung sagot. Tama ba? Pag ang ginamit yung formula ay yung may V final squared is equal to V initial squared plus 2A delta y, mag-square root kayo. So, ang magiging sagot ay plus minus 4.68. Magdi-decide pa kayo. Ano ba talaga? Pataas ba or pababa? Kasi possible naman na habang pataas siya, bigla niyang kinuha yung susi. Or, kayo ba, paano yung kukunan yung hinatsa yung bagay tapos kukunin ninyo? Hihintayin nyo muna bang pababa siya or habang tumataas ba siya, kukunin ninyo? Okay? Kasi ang ibig sabihin ng negative na yon, pababa na siya. So, ibig sabihin, ang ginawa ni sorority sister ay pinataas niya muna para ma-reach yung maximum height at saka niya kinuha. Ayan. So, hindi naman niya kinuha habang pataas siya. So, kinuha niya habang pababa na siya. So, pinataas niya muna bago niya kinuha. So, yun yung... Kaya lang kayo kasi, kaya ako as much as possible, I will not use this one kung may choice naman. Okay, kung may choice ako, hindi ko gagamitin ito. For that reason. Kasi dalawa yung sagot lagi. Okay, pero halimbawa, talagang yan ang ginamit ninyo and then you want to verify kung positive ba or pababa. Kunin nyo yung time sa maximum height. Okay? At max height, ano yung time? Diba? V final is V initial plus 80. So this is 0. So time is equal to negative VI over A. So that's negative 10.02 over negative 9.8. So what's the time? Okay, 1.02 seconds. Eh, di ba nasalo niya 1.5? So, kung 1.2 yon, talagang pinaabot niya muna sa kanyang maximum height bago niya kinuha. Kasi nakuha niya no 1.5 seconds eh. Eh, para ma-reach yung maximum height niya, 1.02. So, pinabot niya muna, tapos saka niya kinuha. Kaya, negative yung ating velocity. Okay?
Sir, pwede ba?
Okay, yan yun.
Kung sa BI, sir, pwede po kita, sir. Pwede mo dito lang ako.
Yung, dito. Pina-shortcut ko. So, ang gagawin nyo, di ba, kung isi-simplify nyo to, ito-transpose nyo muna yon. So, magiging, baliktad natin, 1.5 BI is equal to 4 plus, ano yun? 0.5 times 9.8 times 1.5 squared. So, that's 11.025. Then divide nyo ng 1.5 para makuha nyo yung sagot. Kaya sabi ko sa inyo, kung may shift solve kayo, you can solve it using shift solve.
Sir, may tanong ako, sir. Yung dun sa dulo, sir, anong meron dun, sir?
Kita?
Apo.
Yung iba kasi, ito yung sinagot nila. Okay? Hindi ito yung sinagot nila. So, pag dito kasi, diretso na ibibigay niya yung sagot. Kaya lang dito kasi, dalawa yung possible answer, plus or minus, or positive, negative sa final velocity. Kumari, ito yung sagot mo, at syempre, ako gusto mo i-verify, ano ba talaga yung sagot? Pataas ba or pababa? Positive ba or negative? So, ginawa ko ay kinuha ko yung time para ma-reach na yung maximum height. Kung ang time para ma-reach na yung maximum height is less than 1.5 seconds, so ibig sabihin, pinadaan niya muna ng maximum height bago niya kinuha. So, negative ang sagot. Okay? Pero kung yung time to reach the maximum height is greater than 1.5 seconds, so habang tumataas siya, pataas siya, doon niya kinuha. Bine-verify ko lang. So, tinry kong kunin kung ano yung maximum time para ma-reach yung maximum height. So, nakuha ko is 1.025. So, that means that's less than 1.5 seconds. Kung less than 1 point, kasi 1.025 siya dito. So, ang ginawa niya is pinataas niya muna at ma-reach yung maximum height bago niya kinuha. Kaya, ang magiging sagot natin sa velocity should be negative. Gusto ko lang patunayan kung, verify kung positive ba or negative yung tamang sagot. Okay? May iba pa bang question? Wala. Victor. Si Sebastian. Because we're down to our last example. Wala? Okay. Okay, so let's have this example. A daring ranch hand sitting on a tree limb wishes to drop vertically onto a horse galloping under the tree. The constant speed of the horse is 10 meters per second. And the distance from the limb to the level of the saddle is 3 meters. So what must be the horizontal distance between the saddle and the limb when the ranch hand makes his move? So for what time interval is he in the air? So let me draw the figure. Hindi ako marunong mag-drawing stickman lang. So, halimbawa, ito yung ranch hand. Yeah. So, nasa tree limb daw siya. And then, let's say that this is the, ground. Sa tree siya. And then, dito yung horse. Stick din yung horse. Mukha siyang aso. Poodle. Ayan. Okay? So, ano daw? The horse has a constant speed of 10 meters. So, the speed of the horse is 10 meters per second. So, let's say it is moving in this direction. And the distance from the limb of the tree to the level of the saddle. So, this is the saddle. Ito yung limb. Okay, so that is 3 meters. Okay, what must be the horizontal distance? So, ano daw dapat yung horizontal distance? Ito. Bago, bababa yung magpapatihulog yung ranch hand. And then, from what time interval is in the air? So, ano yung time? Ayan. Okay, class. So, sa ganitong klase ng motion or analysis na two-dimensional, so we always try to connect the two. Okay? At sasabihin ko na, normally pag ganyan, ang lagi lang silang connected sa time. Okay? Pag meron tayong two-dimensional motion, lagi silang connected sa time. Okay? Sa time lang. Kaya ang tinawag ng perfect timing. So, tatimingan niya. So, yon. So, sa time natin sila i-relate. So, unahin na natin yung sa una, horizontal distance. So, let's try to come up with an equation para doon sa horse. Ayan, since delta x ang hinahanap and so delta x is equal to VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. Kaya lang, ano yung acceleration nung kabayo?
Tempo.
Acceleration.
Ay, sorry, sir.
Zero.
Okay, sabi na zero ba? Zero?
Constant speed kasi siya.
Constant speed. Yan. Very good. Ayan, zero. So therefore, ito yung zero. Okay, so that means we only have delta x. Class, narinig niyo ba ako?
Ngayon lang.
Oh.
Nawala po, sir.
Nawala. Hindi ko alam nangyayari sa tali. Pause ko muna. Mabibitin lang ko. So, magsusolve na lang tayo ng isa pang example. Ayan. On free-falling bodies. Okay? I will send you the link now. Okay, so let's have this our last example. Okay, mamaya ko na lang ayusin. An inquisitive physics student and mountain climber, isang tao lang yan, climbs a 50-meter high cliff that overhangs a calm pool of water. He throws 2 stones vertically downward, 1 second apart, and observes that they cause a single splash. The first stone has an initial speed of 2 meters per second. So, nakalimutan yun. Nawawala. Yan. How long after release of the first stone do the 2 stones hit the water? Sige. Drawing muna natin yung figure. So, punta daw siya sa cliff, yung isang physics student na at the same time, mountain climber, na ang height ay 50 meters. Ayan. So, let's say this is stone 1 and then stone 2. Ayan. Yung stone 1 ay tinapon niya at 2 meters per second. So, tinapon niya ito, stone 1. Let's say that VI1. So, that's equal to, since downward yan, so that will be negative 2 meters per second. Naglipa ko yung stone 2. Dito yung stone 2. 2 meters per second. Ayan. Okay? Ayan. So, after 1 second, okay, after 1 second, tinapon niya yung ating stone 2. Ayan. 50-meter high. Yung initial velocity ng ating first stone is negative 2 meters per second. And then, after 1 second of throwing, tinapon naman niya yung pangalawa. So, ang unang tanong ay, how long after release of the first stone do the 2 stones hit the water? Okay. Letter A. How long? Time to hit the water. Okay, of the first stone. Okay, so time ang hinahanap. So, V initial natin ay negative 2 meters per second. B final's not given, but delta Y is given. What's delta Y? Okay, so delta Y is pababa. Parang naglalag yung aking video. Negative 50 meters. Ayan. And of course, our acceleration is negative 9.8 meters per second squared. So what formula are we going to use? Okay, so we'll be using delta Y is VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. So delta Y is negative 50 is equal to negative 2T plus 1/2 times negative 90T squared. So transpose everything to the left. So we'll have 4.9T squared plus 2T minus 50 is equal to 0. So by quadratic equation, so what's T1 and T2? Ayan. Mode 5, 3. So that's 4.9 and then 2 and negative 50. So it's 3 seconds. and negative 3.4 seconds. Of course, we'll not consider that. There's no such thing as a negative time. So, the answer is 3 seconds. So, 3 seconds nung tinapon yung bato mula nung first stone going to the water. Okay. Let's... May question ba dito sa first requirement?
Wala naman.
Okay, sandali. May nag-message sa akin. Paano kung walang quadratic yung calculus? Okay. So that's a good question. If you don't have that, maglulong method kayo. You should use the formula. T is equal to negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Ayan. So T1 is yung positive dito. And then yung T2 yung negative. Yung negative dito. So this is for 1. And yung negative is for 2. Ayan. Gamitin niyo yung quadratic equation. Okay. Okay, so let's proceed to... Parang hindi ko sinulatan. Well... Okay, next. What initial velocity must the second stone have if the two stones are to hit the water simultaneously? So, ang tinatanong sa B, ano yung velocity initial ng 2? Second stone. Ayan. So, kunin muna natin mga information. Ano yung ating delta y? So, that's still negative 50 meters. Ano pa ba? Wala. How about the time? Okay. Ano yung time 2? Okay. So, meron tayong interval na 1 second. So, that means kung ang T1 ay 3 seconds, ano ang T2? Kasi, okay class, ang T1 natin is mula dito hanggang dito. So, that is T1. Okay, then after 1 second, makukuha natin yung T2. So, after 1 second, yung T2. So, therefore, ang T1 ay equal siya sa 1 plus T2. So, therefore, T2 is T1 minus 1. Or the answer is 2 seconds. Tama ba? 2 seconds.
Ulit, sir. Paano yun?
Di ba sa problem? Sinabi kasi sa problem na, ayan, he throws the stones vertically downward 1 second apart. 1 second apart and observes that they cause a single splash. The first stone has an initial speed of 2 meters per second. So, pagkatapon niya ng first stone, nagpalipas muna siya ng 1 second, tsaka niya tinapon yung second stone. Bawa, tinapon niya to, so habang nagta-travel to pababa, yung first stone, kaya nagta-travel siya pababa, after niya mag-travel for 1 second, tinapon niya yung second stone. Tapos, sabay pa rin silang napunta sa tubig. Na gets ba? Nagtapon siya ng dalawang bato na 1 second apart. So yung una, tinapon niya, yung unang bato, tinapon niya na may velocity na negative 2 meters per second. So after 1 second niyang pagkakatapon niya ng una, sa kanya tinapon yung pangalawa. Pero sabay pa rin silang, hindi sila sabay tinapon, pero sabay pa rin silang napunta sa tubig. Gets ba?
Nagets po, nagets po.
Okay. Kaya kukunin natin ng T2, yung pag-travel ng T1, ng first stone is 3 seconds. Total. Ayan, na-compute natin 3 seconds. So, ano yung total time na tinravel na lang ng T2? Since nauna siya ng 1 second, so therefore, 2 seconds na lang yung itatravel ng T2. Kaya, 2 seconds. Yeah. So, same formula lang naman tayo. Delta y is equal to VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. So, this is negative 50 is equal to VI times 2 plus 1/2 times negative 9.8 times 2 squared. So, this is VI times 2 is equal to negative 50 plus 0.5 times 9.8 times 4 squared. 78.4. Tama ba ako? 0.5 times 9.8 times 2 squared. Hindi, mali. 19.6. Ayan. So, divide natin to ng 2. So, what's V initial? So, that's negative 50 plus 19.6 divided by 2. So, it's negative 15.2 meters per second. Ay, last sandali. Tama. Tama ba? Kung shift solve ko siya para mas madali. Negative 50 alpha equals alpha x times 2 plus 0.5 times negative 9.8 times 2 squared. Shift solve. Okay, it's 15 negative 15.2. Negative 15.2. Ayan. Okay? Yung C ay iiwan ko na sa inyo. So what is the speed of each stone at the instant the two stones hit the water? So find the final velocity of each stone. So given naman kayo ng time, for the first one is 3 seconds, the second one is 2 seconds. Okay? So any question? Okay, so wala yung question. So that's it for today. Okay, see you next meeting.